there's people out there watching this right now that are like, okay, I know I get leads. I know I can count my leads. I know that I can determine what is a qualified lead. And so I can count my qualified leads out of my leads. And then I get my qualified lead ratio. Then I know I can get, the number of leads that I've signed, and my effective conversion rate is 50%. What are some things that you would encourage those people to do regarding their intake in order to get their effective conversion rate higher?
Well, one further piece of data that you can have is your effective conversion rate per person. You measure it by each person. So if Steven's doing a great job and he's above 90%, he may be fine. But if Marcia has a 50% conversion rate, she may not be. So one further drilling point on this data is do it person by person. Now, some people have one intake person, so you only have to measure one. But what I did is I hired a company that I found to be excellent that trains just intake. And they specialize on personal injury. And there's about 3 companies in the United States who do this, and they're all pretty good. There's a guy in New York, I think, Gary Falkowitz. There's Stacy Mullins, Intake Conversion and Experts. And then there's a third one, Brooke Berkey, called Level Up Consulting. So those are the 3. I use Brooke Berkey, Level Up Consulting, and she'll come in and she'll train your entire team on empathy, compassion, and all the human factors that go into sales. Even without having to know your product, it doesn't matter, because what the person is looking for is help and compassion and empathy. So that's basic sales training, which law firms, they didn't care about this until about 5-10 years ago. They didn't even realize that intake is sales and that you don't have to know law. So what's funny about my office is, as I said, I hired a sales director that used to be in a call center, and now he calls them deals. And all the 6 people I have in my intake department came from call centers for professional services. In other words, they were selling contracts for bug companies or whatever, but they came off a sales floor. So these people like headphones, they like conversions, and they like people. So if they're empathetic, they can close. So I completely transformed who I hired in intake from people who knew something about law to people who knew something about sales and were compassionate. So I thought that shift made a big difference. My ECR went up from about 70% to over 95%.
I come from that world, so I identify with those people. I used to be a headset wearing, walk around. And I do love people, and I love talking to people, so I have evolved my job into getting to do this podcast. So I get to talk to people like you.